This series began with a simple human act, making a mark that could outlast the moment. A handprint on stone, a token in clay, a name on a page. Across thousands of years, people built ways to carry memory beyond a single mind. Every system of information promised a gain, a record that could travel, a calculation that could be repeated, a pattern that could be recognized. But every record also made a choice. It decided what to preserve, what to count, what to compare, and what to leave outside the frame. The history of intelligence is not only a history of answers, it is a history of attention. When a society classifies the world, it gains a powerful tool. Names can make trade possible, coordinate public work, and help researchers discover relationships that might otherwise remain hidden. But categories can also become rigid. A label can be mistaken for a person. A score can be mistaken for a destiny. From early registers and tax rolls to catalogs, census tables, and databases, information systems have never simply described reality. They have helped organize it. The question was never whether classification would matter. The question was who made the categories, whose experience they captured, and who could challenge them. The printing press transformed the circulation of texts in Western Europe. Movable metal type made reproduction faster and more repeatable, and printed books gradually reached more readers than hand-copied manuscripts could. But print did not automatically create freedom, reason, or equality. The same technologies could spread arguments, laws, religious conflict, scientific observation, propaganda, and satire. Gutenberg's achievement reminds us that a medium does not carry a single political destiny within it. It changes what can circulate. What people do with that new circulation remains a matter of institutions, conflict, imagination, and choice. As machines entered factories, laboratories, offices, and homes, calculation became part of everyday infrastructure. It measured motion, organized logistics, modeled weather, carried messages, and helped coordinate work across distance. These achievements mattered because they solved real problems. Yet the more deeply calculation enters a system, the more important its hidden assumptions become. A model can be precise and still be narrow. A measurement can be reliable and still miss what matters. The lesson is not to reject calculation. It is to understand its boundary. Every number answers a question that someone has chosen to ask. The 20th century gave us a new conceptual tool, the universal machine. It showed that one formal system could, in principle, carry out many different procedures when given the right instructions. That insight helped shape modern computing. But universality did not mean omniscience. Computation has limits. Programs run within finite machines, finite time, finite data, and finite purposes. The most important question was never whether a computer could imitate every human activity. It was what people would ask computers to do, where they would trust them, and what forms of responsibility would remain when an answer arrived from a machine. Apollo 11 showed what well-designed automation can do under pressure. The guidance computer could protect essential work during an overload because people had anticipated failure modes, specified priorities, and built a larger system of crew, engineers, and mission control. AlphaGo revealed something different. A learned system could make strong and unexpected moves in a closed strategic game. Neither story ended human judgment. Both made judgment more demanding. When a system narrows options, flags a risk, or proposes a move, someone still needs to understand the setting, decide what matters, and remain answerable for the outcome. Today, digital systems can rank information, detect patterns, recommend options, and generate language or images. Their predictions can be useful. They can also be wrong, incomplete, or applied in places where a prediction should never become a verdict. A system may recognize a correlation without understanding a life. It may optimize a measurable objective while ignoring a value that was never included in the design. That is why the central question is not whether a model is clever. It is whether people can see its limits, contest its use, correct its errors, and refuse to let a score become the whole story of a person. Shoshana Zuboff describes business models built around behavioral data, prediction, and influence. Her diagnosis is a challenge, not a law of history. It asks us to look closely at power. Who controls the infrastructure? Who can inspect it? Who can opt out? And who has a voice when an automated system changes the conditions of everyday life? Martin Heidegger once asked what happens when the world appears only as something available for use, measurement, and optimization. His language of technology can still provoke a useful question. What do we overlook when efficiency becomes the only value we can see? But Heidegger is no simple guide. His political involvement with National Socialism and his documented anti-Semitism make any appeal to him morally and historically fraught. We can take the question seriously without turning its author into an authority. No philosophy excuses us from examining the concrete institutions, harms, and responsibilities of our own time. Reflection matters. So do rules, rights, and repair. A person should be able to understand when a consequential system is being used, ask how an outcome was reached, challenge an error, and find someone responsible for responding. Builders should test systems in the settings where they will be used, examine harms before scale, and keep their limits visible after deployment. Public institutions should be able to set standards and enforce them. These are not obstacles placed in the path of innovation. They are ways of making innovation worthy of trust. Responsibility is not what remains after technology fails. It is part of what makes technology humanly usable. The record of a life is never the life itself. A dataset may remember what someone clicked, bought, watched, or wrote. It cannot, by itself, decide what that person owes, hopes for, forgives, or becomes next. This is not because people are magical exceptions to every pattern. It is because human communities live by meanings that must be interpreted, argued over, and renewed. Care, dignity, doubt, humor, loyalty, beauty, and justice do not disappear when they are difficult to measure. They become reasons to be cautious whenever a system presents its output as the whole of what is real. From a mark on stone to a model in a data center, the long history of information has been a history of human beings extending their reach. We built records to remember, categories to compare, machines to calculate, networks to connect, and models to anticipate. Each tool changed what could be known and what could be done. None removed the need to decide what knowledge should serve. The future is not written by an algorithm before we arrive. It is shaped whenever people set a boundary, ask a better question, protect someone from an unjust inference, or build a system that keeps power answerable. The record is still open. So is the future.